Howdy guys, the Champions League is back, and no, I'm not in Mexico as you may have expected. So the day we were supposed to leave to meet my parents down there, I found out that my grandfather was in his final days. So of course we canceled everything to be there for them. I'm glad I made it in time to see him one last time. So this video is for Gervasio, my avou, a master mason who helped build many buildings and churches on San Miguel in the Azores and later in Victoria, Canada. My grandfather was a Sporting supporter, and I'm sure he would have loved the result from Tuesday. Benfica. They didn't look good once again. And I say once again because they also looked second best against Porto on Friday. Nothing new there. Porto's mentality is always way stronger than Benfica's in the Clásico matches, thanks to Sergio Conceição. In this game, however, playing at home against an Inter side that isn't anything close to their best, that is playing far below their own standards, I mean, Benfica has no excuses here. Well, there are a couple of occasions where the refereeing felt a bit slanted. The Bastoni incident on Gonçalo Ramos, the handball that deflected off of João Mario's head, and then his arm. I mean, there's just no consistency with the handball rule, so what we previously knew about handballs being negated if they come off of another part of your body first and then hit your hand, well, who knows anymore, man. Some referees call it, others don't. There was a similar moment in the first half with Bastoni where he went to ground and the ball bounced up off of his bicep, but it wasn't called there. Wasn't even looked at by Michael Oliver. Just as the Bastoni challenge on Gonçalo Ramos wasn't even looked at in the second half, which is a little bit frustrating. Just look at the thing, dude. But those gripes aside, the result was 100% the correct one. Benfica looking good in the build-up and around the box, but incapable of taking their chances when they came. And for the rest, Inter's backline and Onana were tidy. Bastoni and Darmian were really great, I thought, as they made life incredibly difficult for Benfica's attackers. And Onana, man, how this guy has improved in the last few months. Another clean sheet for him. He made 2 big saves, and he was actually the keeper who has the most saves in the Champions League this season, which speaks to what this Inter team is. A bit anemic in the attack at times, but fantastic defensively in knockout competitions. And Brozovic, massive performance from him. He was dominant in the midfield, wasn't he? 2-0 is absolutely a harsh scoreline. I have gripes with the penalty, as I said, but the goal was a good one from Inter, the first one. Beautiful curling ball from Bastoni for Barella at the back post. Some porous defending at times from Benfica, but when you are missing 2 out of 4 of your back line, Otamendi suspended and Ba at right back, so you have to field a back pairing of 19-year-old Antonio Silva and 21-year-old Morato. I mean, defensive disorganization was always on the cards. Overall, it was poor from Benfica. I thought that Schmidt was way too slow with the substitutions, and this is 2 matches in a row where Benfica has been second best after 90 minutes. I'm not ready to throw out the entire season of accomplishments that came prior to this because of 2 bad results. I'm not ready to do that. That would be very reactionary, and I literally can't do that. But Schmidt and the squad are capable of doing that, and if they don't find their form again soon, then they will. The loss of form at this crucial part of the season, failing to rise to the occasion in big games, it's frustrating, man. Is this tie over? It feels like it, yes. The only hope for Benfica is that they find form this weekend and hope that Inter's form at the San Siro continues to be rather bleak. Inter play Monza next, so you'd expect them to win at home. We'll see what happens next Wednesday, fellas. I just realized both of these teams have lost their last 2 matches at home. Benfica has 3 consecutive clean sheets away. Who knows what will happen? Mid versus mid at the moment. Wow. What a performance from Manchester City overall. I mean, in general, they were great, but especially defensively. There are 2 people who I need to highlight here because they hadn't moved me in the past, but they've been excellent for Pep this season. Akanji, I mean, it could have just been the Dortmund defender tax that made me think he wasn't capable of playing at these heights as he has for City, but he has been great for City all season long. Nathan Ake, I think a lot of us were thinking at times that he would never really reach the heights that he had previously looked to reach. He looked like he would just be a good defender, a solid defender, but wouldn't offer much more than that. And, well, he has offered much more than that for City this season. On top of this, I thought Pep did great to put Stones and Rodri in the midfield together to make it an absolute headache for Bayern to break them down. But that being said, Bayern did carve out opportunities at times, more in the second half, however. But Ruben Dias, another defender who had a good performance, blocked Musiala's strike that was destined for the bottom corner. He had a few important interventions as well, didn't he, Ruben Dias? He's looking better than he was before. Overall, everyone was looking good defensively for City, and in the second half, they looked more and more dangerous going forward, which was helped in part by mistakes by Bayern. But before we get to that, how about that perfect strike from Rodri? The perfect placement straight into the top corner on his left foot, zero chance for Sommer in goal. And Sommer had made a few great saves on the day, so you wouldn't put it past him, of all keepers, to make that save, right? But that would have definitely caused some sort of doping inquisition if he had got to that strike. That was a peach, a perfect peach. Now, I have a lot of nice things to say about Pep in this case because, like I said earlier, he set up defensively with 4 center backs on the pitch, which made things tough for Bayern and led to a lot of possession for Bayern at the Etihad, but very little danger as they had just 4 strikes on target and bar one great save from Ederson, which was one of the best I've seen from him in a while. Bayern accumulated an expected goals of just 0.88. Low for them. In fact, City's possession count of 44.6% was the lowest that they have ever had at the Etihad under Pep Guardiola. We're seeing this more from Pep this season, which could be in part down to him adjusting his side to benefit Haaland a bit more. We saw it against Arsenal at the Emirates when they beat them 3-1 and had just 36% possession. They are evolving, man, which all good teams have to do in order to continue with their success. Anyway, in the second half, the Upamecano horror show was well and truly on. Coughing up the ball to Jack Grealish very, very cheaply. Huge discount on possession there. Perhaps the easiest pocket picking you will ever see. It was like Upamecano was walking through a crowd of people holding his wallet out in front of him. Like, hey, it would be really awful if someone would steal this from me. You know? From there, Jack hit a nice back heel to Erling Haaland, and his perfectly executed cross to the back post just needed Bernardo Silva to run onto it. The pace of the cross was enough for him to guide it past the keeper. And the thing is, I won't say that this goal came against the run of play, but Bayern was finding more joy in the second half. The problem was defensively. Whether it was Davies making mistakes or Upamecano, City struck once again minutes later, as this time Haaland was the scorer, as Stones headed the ball across goal for Haaland to meet at the back post and make it 3-0. And honestly, it looks like an easy goal, but take nothing away from that finish from Haaland, as the ball is dropping like that. To hit it so cleanly and accurately before it hits the ground is very technically sound, which will come as no surprise to anyone when you're talking about Erling Haaland. So 3-0 City, as they have 1 foot, maybe 1.5 feet in the semi-final at this point, and it seems as though Nagelsmann wasn't really the issue at Bayern. The divide in the dressing room seems to be more of the issue. Mane and Sané getting into arguments and fistfights, like what is going on here? This match, based on the form of these two sides, really went as expected. I know some will be saying, well, Adrian, Real lost to Villarreal this weekend, so what do you mean? But we got to remember, they rotated quite a few players and were largely looking ahead to this fixture, weren't they? Chelsea, on the other hand, they lost this past weekend to Wolves, so their form hasn't changed under Lampard yet. No signs of a new manager bounce for these guys either after this past weekend's result, and this result. That being said, early doors in this match, and Chelsea actually looked decent in transition, didn't they? A few moments where Kante was, what a huge lift he is, looked like he could spring the trap for them, while João Felix was also released in a foot race that resulted in a corner for Chelsea. So they were looking okay at the Bernabeu. But Real Madrid's attack of Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Benzema is looking like something very special once again, especially with Luka Modric playing a little more to the left in the midfield and linking with Vinicius a lot more and overloading that side of the pitch now and then. I felt for Reece James. What a nightmare to contend with. Vinicius, Modric, Benzema drifting over, Camavinga getting forward. Real broke the deadlock through a nicely worked goal. Benzema, big match Benz, getting that goal for Los Blancos. But as I said, Chelsea looked good at times in the first half as they would counter quickly. And if it wasn't for the fingertips of Thibaut Courtois, Chelsea would have equalized almost immediately. But in the second half, Chelsea struggled to generate anything, while Real Madrid's attack continued to pass circles around them. That quick one-touch passing from Real around the box was absolutely spinning the heads of the Chelsea defenders. They looked like a group of, guys off of the street at times up against Real's attack. Mind you, Real tend to have that effect on plenty of teams in this competition, don't they? And once Chilwell was sent off, and hey, remember a few videos ago I spoke about how Marco Asensio was Real Madrid's, low-key most efficient scorer? He only went and did it again to make me look smart, which is rare. I was lucky he scored again. Let's be real. Look, you can only use what has happened in the past to inform your analysis, or in some cases, predictions for the future, and once you are in the present, it can go in either direction. Nothing is guaranteed, right? But Asensio has certainly found a great spot for himself under Ancelotti, some great form, and that's now 9 goals from 1,395 minutes. The best goals per minute in the team, behind Karim Benzema, of course. So a 2-0 lead for Real Madrid as they go away to Chelsea next, a place that they have fond memories of, to be honest, as last season Benzema scored a hat-trick there. Hell, they have fond memories of England in general, as they just defeated Liverpool, right? They smacked Liverpool. This game was an interesting one for Napoli supporters, wasn't it? Despite missing their talisman in Victor Osimhen and with Elmas as a false 9, yes, Elmas as a false 9, Mike Maignan was still the man of the match for me. You can say that Milan defended well also, but this 1-0 scoreline flattered them a little bit in my opinion. And I gotta say, the officiating felt a little slanted in Milan's favor. There weren't any glaring mistakes such as missed penalties or something like that, but just with the fouls and the cards, it really feels like UEFA wants that Derby della Madonnina, the Milan derby in the semis at times. I mean, Di Lorenzo getting a yellow as the captain when he went to just speak to the referee? Anyway, Napoli started quite well, but once Rafael Leão turned it on, Milan started to dictate things much more. And Brahim Diaz? What a turn to take out 2 Napoli players and lead the charge up the pitch. With the backline at his mercy, he dished wide to Leão, and with the return to him, he failed to control it, but it fell perfectly to Benacer, who smashed it low and in. Now, Meret maybe could have done better there, bit of a weak attempt, but take nothing away from that finish from Benacer. Hit it low and hard, and there is always a chance that you'll be scoring, either you or a teammate. Napoli improved in the second half, but they lacked in clinicality. I mean, it was plain to see why this result was 1-0 Milan. They took their chance. From 2 shots on target, they managed to get a goal, where Napoli had 6 on target and Maignan was slapping them all away. Oh, and Milan also had Simon Kjær hit the bar. I almost forgot about that. I know I would have had someone yelling at me for that, for forgetting that part. But yeah, it's an example of how AC Milan were clinical with the chances that they had, while Napoli were lacking a finisher for much of their opportunities. And that's the name of the game, folks. If you're clinical, if you're efficient, most often you'll win. Big save from Maignan late on, which was followed by an attempt that was just flicked over the bar. Napoli pushed right at the end despite being a man down thanks to that Anguissa red card, and it makes you wonder how the second leg will go. Are the Milan teams really Napoli's bogey teams, or have Milan been lucky to catch Napoli without their star striker that punishes every team he meets? It's hard to say, but 1-0 down away, I think Napoli will have taken that at the beginning of this tie. Let's see what Milan can do in the second leg. Should be a thriller. Alright, that's it for me, guys. I thank you once again for watching this and spending time with me. I really enjoyed it, and I don't take you guys for granted. I have another video for you Friday, one I recorded before taking off to Mexico, to do with a certain, let's call him underrated striker in Spain. Take care, guys. Be well.